Don't touch her. Daniel Park's voice cut through Moonlight Club so sharply that even the music seemed to fall silent. His father stood on the other side of him, one hand still raised toward Maya Cole. Around them, members of the Park family watched from the private gallery. Some looked angry, others looked afraid. None of them had expected Daniel to move. Maya had protected Daniel through gunfire, betrayal, and a night escape across South Korea. She had stood between him and danger without asking what it would cost her. But now, for the first time, Daniel was standing between her and his own blood. His father's face hardened. "Move," Victor Park ordered. "You are choosing hired help over your family." Daniel did not move. "No," he said. "I am choosing the woman who saved me over the people who tried to destroy her." 2 weeks earlier, Daniel would never have said those words. 2 weeks earlier, Maya would never have believed them. Before we return to the night everything changed, subscribe to Afro Korean Soulmates TV and stay with us. Because sometimes the person hired to guard your life becomes the one person worth risking everything to protect. 2 weeks earlier, Moonlight Club was filled with Seoul's richest guests. Crystal lights shone above the dance floor. Soft music moved beneath the sound of expensive laughter. From the outside, Moonlight was only a luxury nightclub. Behind its private doors, it was the public face of the Park family empire. Daniel Park stood on the upper floor, greeting investors he did not trust, and relatives he trusted even less. At 38, he had already become the public head of the family business. He controlled the clubs, the private accounts, and the men who guarded both. Yet every important decision still passed beneath the cold gaze of his father, Victor Park. Maya Cole remained 3 steps behind Daniel. She was 33, British-Nigerian, and one of the best close protection officers Daniel had ever seen. She was average height with an athletic average build and a strong, functional close protection physique. She never tried to appear frightening. She did not need to. Maya watched hands, doors, reflections, and changes in the rhythm of a room. That night, the rhythm changed. A waiter moved through the crowd carrying a tray of champagne. His uniform was correct, his posture was not. The real staff stepped around guests without looking at them directly. This man studied every face. He also wore a silver security pin on the wrong side of his jacket. Maya touched the small radio at her wrist. "Daniel, step away from the rail." He glanced back at her. "Why? Now." Something in her voice made him obey. He took 1 step back just as the waiter dropped his tray. Glass shattered. A hand moved beneath the man's jacket. Maya reached Daniel before the weapon cleared the cloth. She drove him behind a stone column, turned and knocked the attacker's arm upward. A muffled shot struck a hanging light. Guests screamed as darkness swallowed half the gallery. Maya did not freeze. She trapped the man's wrist, forced the weapon from his hand and pushed him against the floor. When a second figure rushed from the stairwell, she saw him reflected in a broken mirror. She kicked the fallen weapon away, pulled Daniel through the service door and locked it behind them. "Stay low," she said. "There are people in there. Your guards are moving them out. My job is you." The second attacker slammed into the door. Maya looked once at the corridor, once at the ceiling camera, and once at Daniel. "When I open this door, move to the kitchen, and leave you here?" That was not a question. For 1 second, Daniel almost smiled. Even with danger on the other side of the door, Maya spoke to him as if his title meant nothing. She opened the door before the attacker expected it, struck his shoulder with the metal edge, and used his momentum to send him into the wall. Daniel's guards finally reached them. Within minutes, the club was secure. Only then did Maya allow herself to breathe. Daniel looked at the torn sleeve of her black jacket. "You are hurt. It is a scratch." He reached toward her arm, but she stepped back before he could touch it. "The building is not clear yet," she said. Daniel lowered his hand. He had seen Maya walk toward a weapon without hesitation. Yet one small act of concern made her retreat. Victor Park arrived less than 10 minutes later with the senior members of the family. He did not ask whether Maya was injured. He did not thank her for saving his son. His first question was how she had recognized the attacker before anyone else. "Because I was watching," Maya replied. Victor studied her as if competence itself were suspicious. "My Korean security team saw nothing," he said. "Then your Korean security team should explain why." The room became still. One of Daniel's uncles looked offended. Victor's eyes narrowed. Daniel stepped closer. Not enough to challenge his father, but enough to remind everyone that Maya answered to him. "She saved my life," Daniel said, "or she knew when the attack would happen." Maya's face did not change, but Daniel saw the slight tightening of her hand. Victor ordered the gallery sealed. He gathered the family, the club managers, and the security officers around the main floor. Guests were still being led outside when he questioned Maya in public. "You arrived 6 months ago," Victor said. "You have no blood here, no history here, and no loyalty beyond your salary, yet tonight you knew exactly where to look. That is why your son hired me. My son hired an outsider because he enjoys proving that he does not need his family." Maya looked at Daniel. She expected him to end the conversation. He should have. Instead, Daniel said, "We will examine the evidence." It was a careful answer. It was also the wrong one. The next morning, Victor presented a bank record showing that money had moved from an account in Maya's name to the attacker. The signature looked real. The date was 3 days before the shooting. Maya examined the page once. "This is false." Victor placed her security badge on the table. "Until we know that, you will surrender your weapon and remain away from my son." Daniel sat at the head of the conference room. Every member of the Park family watched him. His inheritance contract lay beside his hand. Victor had been pressing him to sign it for months. The contract would give Daniel full control of the empire, but only if he accepted his father's authority over security and family affairs. Daniel knew Maya had saved him. He also knew that refusing an investigation would look like weakness to the family. He told himself that a temporary suspension would give him time to find the truth. "Maya," he said quietly, "give me your badge." Her eyes met his. "Do you believe I did this?" "I believe the evidence must be tested." That was not my question. Daniel could feel his father waiting for his answer. He hesitated for 1 second too long. Maya removed the badge and placed it in front of him. "Your silence answered it." She surrendered her weapon, turned and walked past the Park family, without lowering her head. No one stopped her. That evening, Daniel found her in the staff garage beside a small travel bag. She had changed into a plain sweater and dark trousers. Without her earpiece and jacket, she seemed less like an officer and more like a woman who had finally become tired of being useful. "You are leaving," he said. "You removed me from duty. Temporarily. Public humiliation does not become harmless because you call it temporary." Daniel stepped closer. "I am trying to protect you from my father while I investigate." Maya gave a quiet, bitter laugh. "You protected your position. Do not confuse that with protecting me." Before he could answer, Mina Park hurried into the garage. Daniel's younger sister normally carried herself with perfect calm. That night, fear had broken through it. "You both need to leave," Mina said. "Father has called an emergency family vote. He intends to place Daniel under family security and hand Maya to the police before sunrise." Maya lifted her bag. "Then I will speak to the police. The officer receiving you is on my father's payroll." Daniel stared at his sister. "How do you know?" Mina looked toward the security camera above the garage door. "Because father asked me to prepare the payment. It was the first crack in the Park family wall." Victor publicly announced that Daniel was taking a short vacation to recover from the attack. In truth, Mina arranged a route to a quiet house outside Busan where they could examine the club records beyond Victor's reach. The airports were being watched and the family controlled Daniel's drivers. Their safest option was the late-night train. Maya did not want to go with him. "You no longer have a bodyguard," she said as they entered the station separately. "I am not asking you to guard me." "Then what are you asking?" Daniel looked at her. "Help me prove what my family did to you." Maya should have refused. Instead, she followed him onto the train. They sat across from each other in a quiet carriage as Seoul disappeared behind them. Without guards, assistants, or family members nearby, the space between them felt different. Daniel was no longer a boss surrounded by power. Maya was no longer a uniform standing behind his shoulder. For nearly an hour, neither spoke. Then Maya noticed the reflection of a man watching them in the dark window. He had boarded 2 cars behind them and changed seats 3 times. When Daniel stood to get water, the man stood too. Maya caught Daniel's wrist. "Sit down." He obeyed immediately this time. "Someone followed us," she whispered. "When we reach the next station, you will leave through the front door." I will draw him toward the rear. No, Daniel. You are not taking the risk alone again. You are the target. And you are the woman my family has already decided is disposable. The words hung between them. Maya released his wrist. That does not make you responsible for me. Maybe I want to be. She looked away first. When the train slowed, the follower entered their carriage. Maya rose and moved toward him before he could reach inside his coat. Daniel pulled the emergency curtain across the aisle, blocking the man's view for one crucial second. Maya used that second to twist his arm behind his back and press him against a seat. "Who sent you?" she demanded. The man refused to answer, but a Park family access card fell from his pocket. The doors opened. Maya took the card, locked the man behind the carriage divider, and left the train with Daniel. They disappeared into the station crowd before Victor's local men arrived. Outside, cold rain swept across the empty taxi lane. Daniel removed his coat and placed it around Maya's shoulders. She immediately tried to return it. "Stop," he said. "I am not cold. You are shaking. That is the adrenaline. Maya, for once, let someone notice what you need." She went still. They waited beneath the station roof until Mina's driver arrived. Maya kept the coat, but she did not thank him. Daniel understood that accepting it was already more trust than she wanted to show. The safe house stood above a quiet stretch of coast. It belonged to Mina, which meant Victor did not know about it. There were 2 bedrooms, 1 kitchen, and no staff. For the first time, Daniel made his own coffee and discovered that Maya smiled when he failed at simple things. "You can control 6 nightclubs but not a coffee machine," she said. "The machine has no respect for authority. I like it already." Her smile disappeared almost as soon as it came, but Daniel had seen it. He wanted to see it again. Later, Daniel found Maya at the kitchen table wrapping a strip of cloth around her right hand. Her knuckles had been scraped during the struggle on the train. She had hidden the injury beneath her sleeve during the drive. He placed a first aid box beside her. "I can do it myself," she said. "I know." "Then why are you standing there?" "Because doing something yourself is not the same as wanting to do it alone." Maya stared at him, but Daniel did not reach for her. He simply opened the box and waited. After several seconds, she held out her hand. "Do not make me regret this." Daniel cleaned the scrape carefully. His hands were steady, but Maya could feel how much attention he gave to the smallest movement. He had seen people injured for his family before. Those injuries were usually handled by doctors and forgotten by morning. With Maya, he noticed every mark. "Does that hurt?" he asked. "I have had worse." "That was not my question." She recognized her own words from the conference room. Daniel recognized them too. "A little," she admitted. "Thank you for telling me the truth." When he finished, he did not release her hand immediately. Maya could have pulled away. Instead, she allowed his fingers to remain beneath hers for one silent breath. Then she withdrew and closed the first aid box. "This changes nothing," she said. "I know." But they both knew something had changed. For a few seconds, Maya had trusted him with pain she could easily have concealed. Daniel understood that her trust would not return through promises. It would return through moments like this, one careful choice at a time. They spent the day examining account records Mina sent through a secure connection. The transfer connected to Maya had been created inside Moonlight Club after the shooting, not before it. Someone had changed the timestamp. The access card from the train belonged to Victor's private security office. The evidence pointed in one direction, but Daniel resisted saying it aloud. That night, Maya found him standing on the balcony with the unsigned inheritance contract open on his phone. "You still want it," she said. "I was raised to want it." "That is not the same thing." Daniel looked at the dark water below. "I thought if I controlled the empire I could change it, close the illegal rooms, end the private payments, make Moonlight something clean. And your father? I thought he would accept me once I proved I was strong enough." Maya leaned against the railing, leaving a careful distance between them. "People who demand that you become cruel before they love you are not teaching strength." Daniel turned toward her. "Who taught you that protection was something you had to earn?" For a long moment, Maya said nothing. Then she told him about her father in Lagos. He had worked nights guarding a private warehouse. When armed men came, the owners ordered him to hold the gate while they escaped through the rear entrance. He died doing his job. The company denied responsibility and claimed he had acted alone. After that, I learned something, Maya said. People praise loyalty when someone else pays for it. My father protected everyone, but no one came back for him. So you decided never to need anyone. I decided never to wait for someone who might not come. Daniel's expression tightened with regret. And when my family accused you, I made you wait. You made your choice. I made the wrong one. He stepped closer but stopped before entering the space she guarded around herself. I cannot undo what I did in that room, he said, but I can refuse to do it again. Maya looked at him with a softness that frightened them both. You are still my employer, she whispered. Not while you are suspended. That is not funny. I was not trying to be funny. The air between them changed. Daniel lifted one hand but did not touch her. Maya's eyes dropped briefly to his mouth, then returned to his face. We cannot, she said. I know. Neither of them moved away. Daniel's phone rang. The moment broke. Mina had found the final proof. Moonlight Club's backup camera had recorded Victor entering the security office before the false transfer was created. A private payment also connected Victor to the attacker from opening night. Victor had staged the attack to frighten Daniel into signing the inheritance contract and accepting family control. When Maya stopped the attack too efficiently, Victor turned her into the enemy. Mina wanted to send the evidence quietly. Maya refused. He accused me in public, she said. The truth will be heard in public. Daniel agreed. At Moonlight Club. They returned to Seoul the next evening. Victor had called the entire Park family to Moonlight for Daniel's succession ceremony. He expected his son to arrive frightened, isolated, and ready to sign. Instead, Daniel walked through the main doors with Maya beside him. She wore her black protection suit. But she did not wear the Park family badge. She had not been restored to duty, and she would not pretend otherwise. Every relative in the gallery watched her cross the floor. Victor stood on the stage with the inheritance contract and the family seal. Why is she here? He demanded. Daniel stopped in front of him. Because you lied. Victor's men moved toward Maya. She shifted her weight, ready before any of them reached her. Daniel raised one hand. Anyone who touches her answers to me. Victor laughed. You have no authority until you sign. Mina stepped out from the family line. He has enough authority to hear the truth. Her hands trembled, but her voice did not. She connected her tablet to the club's screens. The false transfer appeared first, followed by the original timestamp, Victor's private authorization, and the security recording. The family watched Victor enter the office. They watched him approve the payment. They heard his recorded order to make Daniel afraid enough to return to family control. No one could call Maya disloyal after that. Victor turned on Mina. You would shame your own father for this outsider? Mina swallowed. She protected my brother when his own family used him as a target. One of Daniel's uncles lowered his eyes. Another quietly stepped away from Victor. The head of club security faced Maya and bowed. We failed to see what you saw, he said. And then we allowed you to carry the blame. You saved Mr. Park and everyone inside this club. It was not affection. It was not reconciliation. It was something Maya had never received from powerful people after doing dangerous work. Public acknowledgement. Victor tore the screen cable from the wall. Enough. Daniel, sign the contract. I will deal with her afterward. Daniel picked up the family seal. For most of his life, that small object had represented everything he had been taught to desire. Power. Approval. A name that opened every locked door in Seoul. He placed it back on the table. I will not inherit an empire that requires me to become you. Victor's face darkened. Without this family, you are nothing. Then I will discover what I can become without it. Victor looked around the gallery and saw control slipping away. Then his eyes settled on Maya. This is your fault. He stepped down from the stage and moved toward her. Maya saw the anger in his shoulders and the direction of his hand. She could have stopped him. Her feet were already balanced. Her right hand was ready. But Daniel moved first. He placed himself directly between Maya and his father. Don't touch her. The command filled every corner of Moonlight Club. Victor stared at his son. Move. Daniel remained still. No. You are choosing hired help over your entire family. She was hired to give her life for me, Daniel said. All she asked in return was that I trust her. You taught this family to treat loyalty as something we could purchase and discard. I will not continue your legacy. Behind Daniel, Maya slowly lowered her hand. She did not need him to fight for her. She could defend herself. But this moment was not about whether Maya was capable of stopping Victor. It was about whether Daniel was capable of choosing her when the cost was everything. Victor ordered the family to remove them. No one moved. Mina came to stand beside Maya. The club's security chief remained facing Victor. One by one, the relatives who had watched Maya surrender her badge turned their eyes away from the patriarch. Victor had not been forgiven, and he had not changed. He simply no longer controlled the room. Daniel took Maya's badge from his pocket. He had carried it since the morning he suspended her. He did not pin it on her or assume she wanted it back. He held it out on his open palm. The choice is yours, he said. Maya looked at the badge, then at him. If I return, I do not stand behind you while your family makes decisions about me. Then stand beside me. I will not be used for your revenge. There will be no revenge. Daniel glanced toward his father. We expose every illegal account, protect the people who worked for us, and walk away from anything built on fear. That may cost you Moonlight. I already chose what I am willing to lose. Maya closed her hand around the badge. Later, after Victor had left with the few relatives who remained loyal to him, Maya found Daniel alone on the roof of Moonlight Club. Soul burned with light beneath them. He had lost his inheritance in a single night. Yet he looked lighter than she had ever seen him. Do you regret it? She asked. Choosing you? Giving up your family name? The name is still mine. They simply no longer decide what it means. Maya stood beside him. Their shoulders almost touched. You know, I could have stopped your father, she said. I know. You did not save me. I know that too. She turned toward him. You stood with me. Daniel's voice softened. Is that something you can accept? For years, Maya had believed protection always carried a hidden price. That night, Daniel had protected nothing for himself. He had lost his inheritance, his father's approval, and the certainty of the future he had been promised. He had not stood in front of her because he believed she was weak. He had stood there because she should never have to face every battle alone. Maya reached for his hand. I can accept that, she said. Daniel looked down at their joined hands, then back at her. May I kiss you? Maya smiled, the same rare smile he had first seen beside the coffee machine. Yes. Their first kiss was quiet and careful. There was no audience, no family command, and no promise that the road ahead would be easy. It carried everything they had refused to say on the train and everything they had almost surrendered at the safe house. When they separated, Daniel rested his forehead gently against hers. Below them, Mina was gathering the records that could dismantle Victor's control. Several members of the Park family had accepted the truth, but acceptance was not reconciliation. Victor still controlled businesses outside Moonlight, and he had left without asking forgiveness. Daniel and Maya had won one night. Now they had to survive the consequences. By morning, Daniel would no longer be the protected heir of the Park Empire. Maya would no longer be merely the outsider paid to guard him. Together, they would have to build something new, something that did not measure loyalty by blood or love by obedience. For the first time in her life, Maya was not standing alone at the gate. And for the first time in his life, Daniel was ready to walk away from a legacy to stand beside the woman he loved. If you made it this far, you're one of us. Subscribe and stay tuned, because the next story is already waiting for you.